Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today to Christian Access. As always mentioned, the place where you can always get a good word of encouragement. Today, we are here on a special day. We are pleased to have with us Evangelist Adrian Brown Young from Salvation and Deliverance Church, who wears several different hats. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about something that is very important to a lot of churches. Some churches may not see it that way, they may not understand it, but it is very important to have someone that is able to assist the pastor and also the church, to be able to get different things rolling off the ground, different events, things of that nature. So today's topic is called Being in the Thick of It. As I mentioned to you, today we're pleased and blessed to have with us today Evangelist Adrian Young Brown from Salvation and Deliverance Church of the Bronx, New York. And she is an active member of the church, in which, as I mentioned, she wears several different hats as church administrator, aide to the pastor, usher, choir member, event planner, and youth advisor. So let's go ahead and get started. How you doing, Evangelist Young?
I'm doing well,
You
thank
doing
you.
well? All
Yes.
right. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank
We're
you.
just going to go right into this Q&A.
Okay.
We're going to try to go as far as we can before we go and we take a break. So let me ask you, let's start with the first question. How long has it been since you've been a member of the church?
It's been quite some time. I was actually brought into the church by my aunt, who was the usher and the cook at the time at the church. And
Okay.
she was also assisting the current pastor at that time. And my mom had gotten sick after having me. So she was taking care of me a lot. And she brought me into the church, Sister
Oh,
Bar.
okay. Okay. All right. All
I was
right.
2 months old.
Yeah. I think
Yes.
we know her as Auntie Bar.
Yes,
I call her
Auntie.
Mom.
Yes.
Yeah. So as a member, what was it that got you involved with the church?
I would have to say it was the youth.
Mm-hmm.
When I got of age, my aunt introduced me to Karen Bennett. And
Oh, okay.
Karen
Okay.
stuck to me like glue and introduced me to all the other youth. And
Mm-hmm.
we had so many youth in the church at that time.
Mm.
And they were doing so many things. They closed the street off and
Mm-hmm.
had double dutch contests and all kinds
Yeah.
of little things going on
Okay.
for the youth. They
Okay.
had like even a daycare center,
Mm.
youth center going on at the church.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go by there sometimes. It was just a lot of things for the youth to do.
Oh,
So
okay.
that is what made me say, I want to stay here.
Wow.
I always want to be
Wow.
here.
Did they ever have like discussions during that time? I think, well, back in the day, like we used to call them like rap sessions. What was that like?
It was really good. It gave the youth a chance to get out what they were feeling and express some things like if we weren't getting along or
Mm-hmm.
if you were having trouble in school, things like that. And they would give us different things to how
Mm-hmm.
to combat those things, those
Oh,
issues,
okay.
those situations, give the youth a chance to talk and
Mm-hmm.
get out their emotions, things like that.
Okay. Okay. So, even at a young age, the church was very much into helping you develop into what
Yes.
you are now, and also some of the other youth.
Yes, and the older youth, the young adults, they would mentor us. Like I
Mm.
remember Nina Allen. I was really afraid at one point
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
church, like when they would pray, Sister Green. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but every
Okay.
time she prayed, I would get so scared.
Mm-hmm.
Now I see it was the anointing of God. When you don't really know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sometimes those things become frightful.
Yeah.
But Nina, she would take out time with me. I remember one time I just ended up in her arms and she just rocked me and she
Wow.
explained things to me, explained
Mm-hmm.
the church to me and what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's all you need,
Yeah,
you know?
because it's a funny thing because a lot of times, when people come in, you would think that there's some things that they know, but a lot of times people don't always know what's going on.
It's true. It's
Especially
true.
like I remember one time hearing a conversation between two people when they were talking about how they like the church that they visit. They like the music, the singing,
Yeah.
but then when it comes down to like the prayer and how people move, sometimes it can make people kind of
Yeah.
nervous
Yeah.
because it's so loud
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it's kind of hard to understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's good, that you had somebody that was able to explain it to you.
Yes. Yes.
How has your life changed in the time you've been in the church and accepted Christ as your personal Savior?
Oh, it's changed tremendously. I mean, I started off as a youth, a toddler, in the arm of my cousins, my aunt, and things like that in church, and now being married. So you go through everything, but you go through it in church. Sometimes I remember feeling like I didn't fit. Like I didn't fit in the church, I didn't fit out of the church. But that was just God dealing with me and separating me for what was to be my purpose.
Right.
But you don't always understand that at that time.
Oh, okay.
So, it's a growing experience. But I just knew that I couldn't see myself anyplace else. So now, like things, when I look back on that time, there's things that I would have liked to do differently, but because I went through it, I can help someone else.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
So we go through so that we can help someone else.
And also, too, like you mentioned, you know, you talk a lot about the love that was, that was there and that is still there.
Yes, yes.
And then also, before the church had changed its name to Salvation Deliverance, I think the name was Second Born Holiness Pentecostal Church, and the theme was home away
Yes,
from home.
yes, and
And
that's the truth.
it's that still exists right now
Yes,
today.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So it goes to show you that foundation is still there.
Yeah, it
The
is.
current pastor now still fosters that, and he carries that
Absolutely,
on.
absolutely. Times have changed, people change, things change. The enemy is much stronger. The things that we go through, the issues and the trials and tribulations that we go through are much
Yes.
different, from when we were growing up.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I remember hearing in a sermon that you had preached that, and this was a while back. I don't know if you remember when you had mentioned when we were coming up, this and this went on.
Oh, yeah.
Like we had these problems in school and different
Yes.
things of that nature. But like now, it's like it's done hyped up to
Oh
another
yeah.
level.
Oh yeah. I remember, like even with the bullying, I remember that speaking to one of the other elders and the pastor, and how things are so different because the things that are going on with bullying in the school, and yes, I believe we all were bullied at one point or
Yeah.
another, but it didn't attach itself. Like we didn't hold on to it. We didn't try to, it didn't escalate to the point that it's escalating
Yes,
now.
yes.
I don't know what that's about, but it seems as though that the Bible is being fulfilled every day.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the young people, they're very strong. They got a lot of knowledge. They learn faster than we
And then
did.
something else now that you mention and that now that I think of it, when we got bullied, maybe like at school, when we left school, that was it. We were in the
Exactly.
confines of our homes, the people
Absolutely.
that we play with, that we hang
Yeah.
out with, we were okay.
Yeah.
But now we have Facebook, we have social
Yeah.
media, we have
Yeah.
Facebook, we have YouTube, we have
Absolutely.
Twitter, we have all these different things now
Yeah.
where they can actually get on
Yes,
and
yes.
do some of the bullying there.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think how you counteract, you need a village.
Yeah.
And that's what we had. We had a village. People don't think that it takes a village, but it does. And sometimes when you find yourself in a place where maybe you don't have a village, you should go out and you should get a village. And if you
Yes.
join a church, you'll find that village. And you can't be afraid to ask questions or be vulnerable and accept criticism and direction and things like that. It helps. It really
Yes.
does.
Yes.
Because like with my niece, who who's my daughter now, she had a hard time. And like we were talking about it just last night, and it takes, you just have to constantly stay on point. You got to keep them
Yes.
focused, even when they lose focus. And you have to let them know and encourage them that, yes, you're not what they say. You're not what he says or she says, but you're what God says you
Yes,
are.
yes.
And once you keep doing that and you keep encouraging them, and when they come to church and they hear the word of God, before that word always comes back up. It always
And
comes back up.
too, this is another reason why it's very important to have a youth ministry
Yes.
and to also have those that are in charge of the youth ministry
Yes.
to be involved.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
And then, too, you went through it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can also help
Yes.
the youth that are coming up today,
Absolutely.
get through what they're going
It's true.
through,
Sometimes all you need is a hug. Sometimes they need it.
Yes.
They need someone just to listen. Not to tell them what to do or anything like that, but just basically to listen. And unfortunately, a lot of our young people, they're struggling in their own situations and circumstances and issues. We were more carefree when we were growing up.
Yeah.
We had issues and stuff like that, but I think the young people now, it just seems more intense.
Yeah.
For them, whether they're raised by their grandmothers or their aunts, and why did God have to take my mom so early, and this, that, and the other. But when you speak to them and you get to listen to the things that they feel and what they're going through, there's always a word to give them. The Bible is full of nothing but encouragements and words to give them.
Yes.
And when you just let them know that they're not alone, because I know a lot of young people, they're cutting themselves. You'd be surprised the things that they're going through, and they just want someone to listen.
Yes, absolutely.
Someone to understand and say, I'm there for you. Call me 2 o'clock in the morning. Call me 3 o'clock in the morning. Whatever it is, if I need to come get you, I'll come get you.
Oh, okay. I want to go more into detail about the youth department, because I know that's where you pretty much specialize in.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things I want you to talk about.
Okay.
There's a couple of trips that you guys had went on, and I really want you to just take us there. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to take a break, and we're going to talk about this on the other side.
Okay.
All right, so stay tuned as we pause for a message. We'll be right back.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume, not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Hello, everyone, and we're back with Evangelist Adrian Young, and we were in the middle of a conversation where we left off with the youth department of the church. Now, within the past couple of years, you guys have really done some, what I think is some pretty incredible stuff. So much so till there's a young man that you guys got involved, and I was a little surprised that he came, my son, Yes. So tell us about some of the events that you guys have had, especially this last event that you guys had where some of the kids came back bragging they were so happy to see this incredible movie.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, we're like my family. We're big Marvel comic books and everything. We're so into the comics. And actually, how I got involved with the comics was you guys, you
Really?
and Calvin, because they were always at the house.
Yeah.
So I would read them, and that's how I got involved, in reading the comics. So my kids, they're involved in it. My husband, everybody, we love it. So I was like, okay. I think that's something that the kids would love, and sometimes, parents, especially when they have more than one child and stuff like that,
Yes.
they really can't afford to go to the movies like that because it's considered an extra expense. So the first time the pastor treated them to go, and he told me to get everything together, and it's a movie theater that we go to in Scarsdale. And they serve you as if it's a restaurant, and they absolutely loved it.
Okay. And I think that you guys had gotten a van.
Yes.
You put
This
all of
last
these kids
time.
on the van.
Yes.
Took them up there. And,
Yes, yes. The first time we all took the parents, I had some parent chaperones, and we all piled them up in our cars, mixed them in with the ones they wouldn't normally mix with, and
Right.
everything like that. And this time,
Developing social skills.
absolutely, absolutely. And this time we took the van and 3 other cars because it was about
Okay.
20 of us that went. And it was amazing. They absolutely loved it.
Beautiful.
Absolutely loved
Beautiful.
it.
Tell us about another trip that you guys did. Did you guys do something with the Intrepid?
We did. We went to the Intrepid. We took the kids down to the Intrepid, and the pastor went along with us on this
The
trip.
pastor went with you guys.
Yes, he did.
How many people consider their pastor will go and hang out with them?
It's so true, so true. And I'm telling you, the kids really enjoyed themselves. He treated them to lunch, and they just looked at all of the different planes and the different things. They were reading things out, and he was teaching them about different things about the Intrepid and the different things that the Navy and
Okay,
the men and women went through and stuff like that. And they just had such a good time.
Yeah.
Such
So
a
you
good
guys
time.
took a tour also, right?
Yes, we did. We did.
Okay.
And the tour, they teach you about the different artifacts and the different events, World War II, World War One, the mission to the moon, and they had different statues and different pictures up, and the kids really they were really interested.
Wow.
Very interested.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we even went on top.
On top?
Yeah, we went on top, and they had planes there as well.
That's beautiful. Now let's, kind of like move ahead,
Okay.
right? We're gonna maybe try to get a little bit more personal with you,
Okay.
because you've given out a lot. You've, especially like within your own home, your family, your wife, you're a mom,
Yes.
and another beautiful thing about you, one that I can witness. I've been privy to it, and because I know how it feels. I was in the same situation
Yes.
where my mom passed away, and it was a wonderful woman of the church. She was very good friends with my mom.
Yes.
And she took me in, and she kind of like put the finishing touches on me.
Yes.
You have faced the same situation.
Yes.
With
Yes.
one of your nieces, Shelley Brown.
Yes.
What was that like?
It was an uphill
And her
battle.
mom
Yes.
was your sister,
Was my
yeah.
sister. Yes. When you have boys, when you're raising boys, they're totally different from girls.
Yeah.
They have different situations, different issues, different, events that go on in their lives. So it was a learning experience for both of us.
Yes.
And she's turned out to be such an incredible young lady.
Well, from what I've seen,
Yes.
she's wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah,
she really
she's
is.
a young lady.
She really is. I mean, young people, they go through their things, why this and why that. And at the time, she was struggling with a lot of things.
Yes, yes.
It's hands-on, keeping them focused, staying on top of them, not letting them use anything for an excuse, seeing the potential in them and pushing them
yes.
towards their goals. I remember when I was just having my children, and I remember in a prophetess, matter of fact, she was the cousin of our pastor. And she didn't, know our children or anything, my children or anything like that. And she told me, she said, having children is an assignment from God. It's a gift. And she said, it's not just the gift in having them, but getting them to where they're supposed to be in their purpose for God. That's a parent's job. She said, don't let up for anything. She said, you keep focused and keep them focused. They may not like you a lot of times. They may not agree with you all the time, but you keep them focused. And then when you hand them over to God as young adults, they'll be prepared.
Oh, okay. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's move a little bit more into your skill set of event planner.
Okay.
Have you ever given any thought to maybe becoming an entrepreneur and becoming an actual event planner? Like you do a lot of planning for the church, but have you ever thought about maybe taking that to the next level as a business? You're very good. You're very
Thank
good at what
you.
you do, from
Thank
what
you.
I've had a chance to witness.
Thank you. Yes, I believe it was the last banquet that we gave, and I said, Lord, I could do this. I want to do this. I remember hearing someone say that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yes,
And
that
I want to
that
do what I
I've heard that.
love. Yeah, I want to do what I love. And I love making people happy. And the process, it's hard work. But when you put your heart into it and your soul into it and you're doing it for the glory of God and you're doing it for the people that, depend on you, the end is phenomenal. It's
Wow.
great. It's really encouraging. It really is.
And then also in doing this, it comes with you developing a lot of resources,
Yes.
connections with different
Yes.
people,
Yes.
party planning places and things like that.
Yes, I've
Okay.
met some really, really wonderful entrepreneurs themselves. They have their own business and they're really, into it when they when they do something, it's with excellence.
Yes.
Because that's what I tell my group. The church, we have to do things with excellence. Because when you do things with excellence, it's with your heart and your soul and your mind. And it has your stamp it has your stamp on it. And it says that I really enjoy and love what I'm doing. And I've
Okay.
met some really nice people.
Okay. The next question I was going to ask you, which I think we can get rid of that, was what was it that piqued your interest in becoming an event planner? But you answered that one. As we mentioned earlier in the program, you're a wife, a mother. How are you able to prepare for some of these events that you have hosted? Are there people you supervise, collaborate with to get your event up and running? How many people work along with you in your group?
I have 4 people. Every year, God always gives me someone extra.
Okay.
But I have 4 people that I can totally depend on. I have a financial officer. She keeps me in line with my budget because I can overextend myself. She keeps me in line with that. I have a vice president that works really close with me.
Okay.
I have a partner who she doesn't just work with me on the group in the church, but she also works with me on my event planning on the
that's-
outside.
Okay.
And she's amazing. She keeps me in line. She keeps me on time. She keeps me within my budget. She does it all for me. And
Yes.
I like to, put my hands to the plow. So for one of the weddings that I did, we were up writing out the invitations. We were out putting together the little trinkets and things like that for for the table. So I like to put my hand to the plow, and they keep me, straight and on the
okay.
narrow.
Yeah, and it's very important too to have a team and
It
also to
is.
have a team that you can work with.
It is.
You
It
know.
is. I've always felt like you don't need a whole lot of people. You just need people who have the heart of God first, but have the heart of what you're doing. When people have the spirit of excellence, it's not hard to get them to come together to stay focused and to do one thing and to accomplish a goal.
Okay, great. I have another question I'd like to ask you, and you've grown up, like in the church, you've
Yes.
experienced a lot. Is there any words of wisdom that you would like to share with our younger viewers that might be watching this program?
I would like to say that if you keep your mind on God and make God your first priority, all the things that you would like to do, you may not get to do everything you want to do, but your purpose will be fulfilled if you keep God first. If you have God in your life, if you have Christ in your life, and you have an education, get your education. And your word, when you have those 3 things, you can do anything. You can accomplish anything. But you
Okay.
have to keep God first.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I believe that. I
Yeah.
do believe that.
It is. You have to keep the Lord 1st. Because when you keep the Lord first in your life, no matter the ups and downs that you encounter, and you will encounter ups and downs in your life, but you'll make it through. You'll make it through. And God will always send you someone to give your hands up.
Yes,
He'll
yes.
always send you someone.
Yes. Wow, that's very inspirational there, and it's something to think about because as long as you put God in the forefront,
Yes.
everything else will.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And he never fails. I know we always hear the cliches and things like that, but he won't. Even when we feel lonely, feel by ourselves, because even when you're married, sometimes you feel by yourself. You feel
Yes.
alone, But when you have Christ in your life, he'll always fill the need and he'll always fill the void.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost just about out of time. So what I want to do here at this point, any shameless plugs, and is there anyone you would like to give a shout out to?
I'm not so sure about the shameless plugs,
No, it's okay.
but I would like to, give a shout out to my mom and my children. They're my village. Even my godfather, who's the pastor of the church, my
Who's a wonderful
family.
man.
He is, absolutely. He really is. I mean, my godmother's not here with us anymore. And I always find myself talking to the kids about things that I remember her telling me. I didn't know that so many things that she would say would come up, but it's amazing. I always say that God always has a method. He always has a plan, because all of these things that you didn't think when you were growing up would make any sense to you, didn't make any sense at the time. It comes back up when you're teaching your children, when you're going through life. And now that she's not here anymore, I can hear her say so many things.
Yes, yes.
And I miss her, but I'm so glad she was able to impart in my life.
That is so wonderful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's like in speaking with you on today, I've learned a lot, and it's just a wonderful thing to see how people have grown down through the years. And it
Yes.
lets you know that, okay, we may start off here, and you can look at me as being a child if you want, and I will
Yes.
never amount to anything. But when God is involved, it is amazing
It's
of
true.
how he can bring you from one point to another.
Absolutely.
Where now you can actually stand and say, here I am.
Absolutely. I
Here I
totally
am.
agree. It's so true. One thing I tell my children is, once God tells you who you are and what your purpose is, no matter who says what to you, you just stand on what God told you.
Okay.
Stand on your purpose.
So we're going to wrap this segment
Okay.
up. And we
Okay.
just want to thank everyone for tuning in to Christian Access on today. And we had a lovely conversation on today with Evangelist Adrian Brown Young. And we just want you to come back, tune in to another episode of Christian Access. Be blessed and be well.